Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mike of Mike, the premier business radio program. But in reality, this is NFL Talk with Ox and Fox. As I said, I'm Mike King. I get the guys here with me, NFL alumni Ken Ox and Don Dion Fox is here with us. The program is Ox and Fox, NFL Talks. So it is on ESPN Richmond. That's where you find us, Fridays at 6 a.m. So, gentlemen, welcome back to the program.
Good to be here. Merry Christmas.
All
Happy New
right.
Year.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Ken Ox and Don, let's drop the bio.
Ken Ox and Don, Chester, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Atlanta Falcons, Box Sports Group, Box SG, Ken Ox and Don, founder of Brown and Oxtown Sports Group. I was the ninth best pick coming out as a high school prospect. That's my one claim on top of many other accolades that I was able to achieve and get to across my span playing football. And glad to be here this day and this morning.
Back down in Chester, doing some great things down there. Very quickly, what you and the missus got going on down in Chester? You always have some things you're planning?
Yeah, right now we're getting ready for the new year. You know, we're getting ready for the new year, putting together all those parts and pieces. Looking forward to right now working with not only the Warner Groups I'm associated with, NFL alumni as vice president, along with the president, Dion Fox, working on this teen summit that's coming up in April, something that I spoke with you about with the 4 counties, 600 students. So that's the next one of the next big things that we got on tap coming up.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a big deal. I'm glad to be a part of that. All right, Mr. Fox.
Dion Fox, Meadowbrook High School graduate. From there, James Madison University. From there, Miami Dolphins, Washington Redskins that are now the Washington Commanders. Played a little stint up in Canada, XFL. The first time it came out back in 2000, where Ken and I played against each other. I believe he was on the Las Vegas team. You know, happy to do a lot of stuff in the community. Want to also say that, 5756 Foundation, I'm the founder and president of that, started that back in 2019. We are the charter chapter of NFL Alumni Richmond. We started the charter chapter here. I'm the president. As Ken said, he's the VP. And we are trying to do some big things in the community. 5756 Foundation was part of a donation to the toy drive for the DAF Foundation, Dreamers Academy Foundation. And that went off pretty well. We missed holiday helpers this year. We missed the deadline for them. Don't know how it slipped. Won't happen next year. We make sure we get them next year. But always like to do stuff in the community, give back like we're supposed to. It's all about paying it forward.
That is NFL Talks. Guys who went away, made good, came back, and now they're really shaping the community. Really quickly, Mr. Fox, really quickly, give us an idea of the difference between playing in Canada and playing and like the game in Canadian football as opposed to American football, and how easy is it to flow back and forth between them?
It's not easy to flow back and forth between it. Canada is, for Canada, it is, professional ball. It's different. The rule changes are a little bit different. Certain things, the field is 10 yards longer, 10 yards wider. You have 12 guys on the field instead of 11. The motions that they have, they can get a 10-yard head start sprint before the snap of the ball, not side to side, coming toward the line of scrimmage. The field goal is in the front of the end zone instead of the back, the goalpost. And you have to return every kick. There's no fair catching in Canada. You have to return every kick, but you have to give them like a 2-yard buffer to be able to catch the ball. If you enter that 2-yard buffer, it's a penalty. But you have to be able to, you have to be able to be, a daredevil with it, because there's no such thing as a fair catch in Canada. And this was back in the 90s when I played. I was there for a year. So, yeah, it's different. Linebackers are not 250 pounds in Canada. DNs are 250 pounds in Canada. You have to be able to run up there. And the other thing is this: if you are an American, you have to be a starter. You can't be on the team if you're not a starter. That's just how that is in Canada. The only backups can be Canadians.
Rip, by law, I mean, that's the rules.
That's the rule in the Canadian Football League. If you're up there, the only backups in Canada, like if you're a QB, that's about the only stipulation right there. Like if you have two American QBs and a Canadian QB, then one of the Americans can be a backup. Outside of that, any other position, you have to be a starter.
Man,
If you're American.
okay. That, see, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I bring these guys are the experts. Alrighty, let's get to the game. The game's up, but we're gonna circle back to the game from last week. And as you see my hat right there, being from Philly, I am the king of pettiness. The way the Cowboys lost was a beautiful thing. It really was. I mean, I really can't even think of a better way for them to lose than that.
But they dragging Dak through the mud, because hey, he threw such and such interceptions. I looked at that interception, that last one.
It wasn't his fault.
It hit the receiver. It hit the receiver in the hands.
Yes.
And bounced off of him, and the DB happened to be in the right place at the right time in his coverage. I said, "Oh, look what I found," and took it straight down the sideline. I saw a meme on Instagram. Remember the scene in 48 Hours where they dragged him and where he was looking for the murderer, Eddie Murphy was looking for the murderer, and they took him down the steps and they threw him through the glass pane window? Well, that's what they did. They put Dak Prescott's head on there with the Dallas Cowboy hat on Eddie Murphy, and he was the one being thrown out the window after that loss. So I'm not a Cowboy fan, but they dragging that boy through the dirt on that particular one.
I feel bad for him, but for them as an organization, that was a good day. Sunday was a very good day for me as far as my standings in the world. It was a pretty good day. And that
well, I'm upset. Hey, Ken, I'm sorry. I do have to say this, since we're talking about the NFC East.
Here they go.
I'm going to speak on, okay, so he's happy about his Philly Eagles. He's happy that Dallas lost. I'm not happy about the crazy calls that went on in the Commanders game.
Right,
you got a wide receiver standing out wide. Huh?
Oh, man.
You got a wide receiver standing out wide, checking with the referee. Hey, am I good? Am I good?
Yes, you are.
The referee tells him, move up. He looks back again, saying, am I good? Everything seems to be okay. Soon as the ball snapped, bloop, a flag comes out. Mind you, on that same play, a touchdown is scored.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll get past that. The next play, okay, now instead of being on the 1, you're on the 6. You throw a pass. The DB rapes the wide receiver.
Yes.
Okay? When I tell you, I've seen a lot of jostling and moving or whatever, but when he's draped around him the entire time, and I'm a defensive guy, he's draped around him the entire time, holding him, pulling him by the waist, arm over top of the shoulder pad, arm around the other side. Oh, then the ball is thrown. And then while the ball is thrown, he's still on his back and reaches over and knocks the ball down, and nothing's called.
Nothing.
I'm like,
so Mr. Fox.
I'm like McLaurin. I'm like, look, McLaurin was like, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get fined. They can't find me. Can't find me.
So, Mr. Fox, what you're saying is a police report should have been filed.
I don't care what 2 teams it was. Yes, sir. Assault, battery,
that was bull job,
everything. They should have brought the Q-tips out and took DNA samples off of that. I'm saying, and it doesn't matter. Like that would have been for any game that I saw. It just happened to be in that one. That would have been in any game that I saw. I understand, little boxing now playing for position, but that was ridiculous. I mean, every sports commentator, sports analyst that saw that play had the same reaction I had, as far as where were the refs? What were the refs looking at? And it's not like
I like Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera didn't want to get fined. He was
Yeah.
he was choosing his words like, yeah, I can't give up 100
Very
grand.
careful.
Y'all seen it.
But look at this. The line on that game was +7. So when you start looking at those other numbers and what that looks like, you just like, it's some funny business. I saw something on social media where it was talking about how crazy when you look at what the spreads are in these scores, and then late scores like this at the end of games, or not having that late score. Oh man, it's very Vegas and how
It's
We'll
money.
start
It's
with
money.
conspiracy
Everything is about
theories.
money, man.
Now that's right. Now you see why they didn't want Vince McMahon in there, because it's scripted.
right.
It is good. All right, so this is NFL Talk,
Conspiracy.
Ox and Fox. Mike King Biz here. This is on ESPN Richmond 106.1, Friday, 6 a.m. All right, Mr. Oxendine, let's go down with the games. We already went over the game last week with the Eagles, and you know my feelings. Mr. Fox, his feelings were, he's kind of tender on the feelings that there might have been a questionable call or two there in that game. It was
Might have been. Hey, Mike, I can only imagine. I can only imagine if your Eagles had that same call not being called against them. You'd be on the other side of this thing with the hat, your king hat turned around reverse in the camera. And all we see is this, your face just like this in the camera.
I was looking up, I'd want a congressional inquiry because the world was not correct. But okay. So you know what? You guys live to fight another day. I'm telling you, guys need to put some respect on Taylor Heineke's name. He looking like he could be the guy. I don't want to hear that he wins games. He puts you in position to win.
Yep, he's not losing them, definitely.
He's not losing them. All right,
yep.
Ox, what we got?
Last night we had the Jaguars and the Jets. The Jags as last weekend. And also, guys, we only got 3 wrong last week.
Yeah.
We doing we making the right choices, and we seeing a lot of good information. But this week, last night, the Jags beat my Jets, which I figured that they were. But the first game this week is the Bills and the Bears.
The Bills, they're getting their footing. They're getting their footing. Where's that one at?
They at the Bears, so it's be cold. That cold front coming through now, so it's supposed to be 9 degrees.
They'll be all right. It's cold in Buffalo too, so they playing at home away from home.
It's not like they're going
playing at home away from home.
Yeah,
they playing at home away from home. It's not a big deal. The frozen tundra.
So yeah.
All right. Okay. So Ken Oxendine, the game last night, 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
Them Jags.
The Jags are they're making they're trying to make the playoffs.
They're making some noise.
When you look at that playoff run and trying to get in there, their biggest thing is right now they're sitting in that wild card hunt. They beat the Jets last night, so now they moved up probably even now with New England and with Miami. So they just got to keep on winning. They keep on winning. They finish out and they go end up doing well. And they're playing well right now at a good time. The young guys playing well, Trevor Lawrence. So it's gonna be interesting. And then
the Jets. Conversely, with the Jets, you have to look at they're self-destructing at this point because of injury, because of the quarterback controversy that they have right now. There's a big quarterback controversy because you have a number 2 overall pick that you can't get right to do what they need to do. And then you have a guy that they put in at the end of the game last night who gained more yards himself on the ground than the Jets offense had, out of all the guys that were rushing the ball. Like the Jets offense, I think, had like 60 some yards last night, and he gained, over 60 yards in the end of the third and the fourth quarter himself in there. They didn't put Joe Flacco in there, and they were saying that they weren't ready for the guy that they put in there. And forgive me because his name slips my mind right now, but he looked okay, but because
Yeah.
he didn't have anything to lose. Okay, he went in there, he played, he knows the playbook, and he brought another dimension to him because Flacco's not running the ball.
Mm-mm.
Okay, you put Flacco in, he's not gonna run the ball. He's not gonna do read option. This guy, this guy's a low too. He's
Chris,
like 6'2", 6'3", about 235.
yeah, Streveler
So yeah, that's it. And
from
I didn't
South
want to
Dakota.
butcher his name. I did not want to butcher his name, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, and he went in there and he played hard. He didn't go in there just to close out the game. He went in there and
yeah.
tried to make some plays.
He did some hard. I mean, he was doing some hard running really quickly. And we touch on this when we talk about Detroit. Really quickly, guys, talk about when you have like a mess that you had in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer to turn around with not just sort of the same guys, that all of a sudden it's a whole new environment. Touch on that really quickly, De'Aaron Fox, and then Oxy jump in after that.
Um, well, you have a seasoned veteran professional football player like Doug Peterson coming in, and also a seasoned veteran coach as well, head coach. He has come in and changed the culture in a short amount of time because of how he did things when he was in Philly. You're talking about 5-year career in Philly, and one of those years in his second year, he goes and wins the Super Bowl. So he knows how to win. Also, he knows how to talk to the front office to get certain pieces around him to help his quarterback and to help the rest of the team to get to a level that they need to get to. Yeah, it takes a while to get them to gel. I didn't expect for it to happen as fast as it did this year. However, I did expect to see improvement. The improvement benefited him because the improvement now has them with other people in their division not doing as well as they thought they would, and them doing better than they thought than other people thought they would. And making a turnaround a late run in the season. Now they put themselves in a perfect position to be able to go possibly and get in the playoffs. One of the main things is molding the young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Everybody know he has talent. Everybody knows this. But then one of the things they talked about him, they we talked about release time with Tua a few weeks back. They
Yeah.
helped Trevor Lawrence get a quicker release and make decisions quicker going through his reads. And that's one of the biggest things that has helped the offense.
There you go, Ox. Ox, jump in and give me an idea.
The bigger part with when you have new regimes is just everybody disseminate the information. And it seemed like Jacksonville, they've been able to do a great job of just, being able to win, those tough games later, but then early in some of those close games, but then also after that, just being able to also just now put it all together towards the end. The defense played well enough to hold games, and Lawrence early didn't screw it up too bad, and they were able to win those close games. And now you're seeing everything start to gel and come together. So, and you got that. Your head coach really is that what helps to move those parts and pieces. And that's a lot of times you see these head coaches who they're offensive coordinators and not head coaches, and they give guys these opportunities, a leader of men versus a leader of leaders. And so when you see those parts and those pieces, you definitely can see it in the NFL, the teams that consistently win. They typically are able to win consistently, and you see it in the regimes over the course of time.
NFL Talks, Ox and Fox. Mike King here, heard on ESPN Richmond. Alrighty, Ox, what's the next game you got, man?
Next thing we talked about the Bills and the Bears a little bit. We know the Bills are on there, moving fields. That's just it's another getting ready for the playoff game, I think, for the Bills and being cold. And really, you move now. We got the Saints and the Browns that next game, and that's just, I don't know, Saints.
Somebody got to win.
Yeah, and so both.
Oh, where
teams,
they playing? They playing in the dome, or they playing? They playing.
They're
Cleveland.
in Cleveland.
I'm gonna go with the Browns, and the reason why I'm
Yeah.
going with the Browns because I don't know how they pulled it out last week, and something clicked last week. But the Browns defense isn't too bad, so if the Browns defense can keep them in the game, they have a good shot at pulling that one off. And the fact that dome teams really don't like to be out in the cold this time of the year, and that can affect some of the play. They
ran the ball.
Go ahead.
They ran the ball last week. Trevor Lawrence didn't throw the ball as many times. So, not Trevor Lawrence.
You mean Deshaun?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Yeah. So
throw the ball that many times, and that's the main thing. Like you in Cleveland, man, you ground and pound that thing. You have two of the best running backs. Easily one of those running backs is top 5 in the league right now.
Yeah.
Okay. You run the ball
all day long, right?
I mean, you run the ball. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Fox said, "Run the ball." That's it. Hand it off and let
those guys do their thing.
And that's what's going to be interesting being in Cleveland. That the team that's good because that cold front coming through, and the Saints, their running game just ain't what it had been. And so, those are what you're gonna run into now, especially these cold weather teams who can run the ball better, and then who can throw the ball just enough accurately.
Right. I hate to be the negative dude, but if it's a place that can get it wrong, it is Cleveland.
Yeah,
it's Cleveland. So if you're saying Deshaun Watson turn around and hand it off, Nick Chubb and those guys, they can do that. But if they done paid him a Brinks truck full of money, they may be looking at, you need to be able to throw it. And next thing you know, they're throwing it 45 times a game, doing what Cleveland does. It just shows you the difference between when you know how to win, a winning culture, and everybody else. It's the reason why the Yankees, you don't have names on the back of jerseys because it's not bigger than who we are.
Right.
Culture. All righty, Ox, what's the next game?
We got the Texans at the Titans. The Titans, their wheels just seem like they falling off.
Yeah, they didn't fell off. They were high on them.
Yeah, so
they're running on 3 flats in the donut right now. So
yes,
they got 3 flats in the donut right now.
You didn't get 3 flats by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was out after you.
So it's going to be a rough ending of the season for them, and the Texans are playing like they don't have anything to lose. You look at the games that they played the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They've been close games. Close games. They almost beat Dallas. Okay. They take Kansas City to overtime.
Yeah.
Because Kansas City goes down there and plays the Texans and they go to overtime. So they playing. They're playing.
Yeah.
And the week before and before they played Dallas, they played Miami. Right. Didn't they play Miami the week before that? I think they did. They played Miami the week before they played Dallas, and then they played Kansas City and took Kansas City to overtime. So
what you're saying is, so even though they're not winning, they're on the path of being good.
Turning something around. Yeah, they turning a corner on something. I think Levy needs to watch himself though, because he's one or two of those games he had a chance to win. He had a chance to beat the Cowboys. Okay. And there were some times where he took some points off the board. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? Like what was the rationale behind that? And you put you in a position to where now you gave the ball back. They were able to drive down and, put points on the board instead of you putting points on the board, kicking off and have them going a longer field, but Hindsight's 2020. That's why we on the radio and he's over there with the headsets on.
That is true with the headset calling the shots. Really quickly, so this is NFL Talks Ox and Fox. Once Patrick Mahomes drove the field in that game with Josh Allen, do we look at time different now? The amount of time left where we did in the past? Like in the past, man, we looked at maybe 45 seconds, 0 timeouts, maybe 1 timeout as not a lot of time. Once those guys did that, it seems like we look at things different now. That you can drive the length of the field now, different than back in my heyday since I'm oldest, you know what?
But I think also with Kansas City and Mahomes, they just it's almost like he's instilled so much confidence in all his wide receivers. A lot of times, the teams that you're seeing playing, you don't have those. You always they know they're trying to get it to one guy that can make that big play. You know, and then them, you have Kelsey, who's like a wide receiver in a tight end's body. That's, you know, but then also the other guys are catching the ball. So
255-pound wide receiver.
Yeah. And you have to cover these other guys as well, you know, because Mahomes is going to pass it and can get it to any of those guys in different ways. And that's, I think now you're just seeing these quarterbacks, these new age quarterbacks that can throw the ball differently to different areas of the field where they used to say, oh, quarterback, you can't throw it back across your body, across the field, because it's always going to be a pick. Now that's not the case. You know, you're seeing these guys making these passes back into the middle of the field and these wide receivers coming up with completions. So that's my thoughts on that one. Whew. Yeah,
usually the guys that you see doing that, the quarterbacks that you see doing that, Ken, are the quarterbacks that played baseball and that were
you said
really
that
good.
before.
Yeah, were really good at baseball. And if you watch baseball and you watch the awkward throws that they make from the outfield to the infield, pitchers, baseman, or whatever the case is, where they're jumping and twisting and turning and catching a ball, you know, and then in the same motion, they're sending it from shortstop to first base, from first base to home plate, you know, as soon as they tag. You know, it's just it's a certain type of muscle memory that the conventional quarterback doesn't have if all they ever played was football, you know.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing these guys that are more athletic at the position instead of just a drop back, stand in the pocket type of guy. Like Joe Flacco came out and he's standing in the pocket. You know, back then before him, the more athletic quarterbacks were, you know, if they ran a little bit. So your Steve Youngs, your Randall Cunninghams, your Joe Montanas, you know, guys like that. And then all of a sudden the running quarterback turned into Michael Vick. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's a blazer. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just run, he outran you. He outran Angus. He outran, you know, stuff like that. Then you put the total package together where you can run and pass the ball, not throw, but pass. I can throw a ball, but I can't pass it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. When you pass the ball with the accuracy that Patrick Mahomes has on some of those throws that he makes that look crazy. They look crazy. You know, they look unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yet he makes these plays, but it's kind of like watching Steph Curry shoot threes from crazy angles and turn around and run down the court before it goes in the bucket, but he knows it's going in. It's something that Patrick practices. He has to practice that. That's not something that just happens, but he practices it because he's able to make those plays. He's athletic enough to make those plays and make that happen. And the guys that he has around him trust him, and he trusts those guys to know that that's, you know, hey, be ready, because he doesn't have favorites. Anybody may get the ball at any given time with him. And that's what I go back to with different quarterbacks. They have a favorite receiver. They always look for that one guy. No, you look for who's open. You take what the defense gives you. And Patrick Mahomes does that.
There you go. This is NFL Talks, Ox and Fox here. Mike King Biz. All right, Ken Oxendine, how can people find you out there?
at kenoxidine@gmail.com, ken.oxidine at NFLalumni.com, BoxSG on Instagram, and all things Ken Oxidine on social media.
Mr. Fox.
At 5756 Foundation on IG, Mr. Fox57@gmail.com, Mr. Fox57 at 5756foundation.com. Also, Dion.Fox@NFLalumni.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, these men played the game. All right, Ox, what's the next game we have?
Seahawks +10 versus the Chiefs. Just talked about that. The Seahawks, they Lockett's out for this game. So, and +4 of the starters banged up in this up and there and play. And Chiefs coming off a tough win versus Texans. I think they may just take this out on, and it's in Kansas City too. So they may bring out that, hey, we got to show you guys who we really are.
We have to show you who
I was about to say the same thing. I was about to say the same thing. I think they had an eye-opening experience overlooking the Texans last week with that game, because nobody expected that game to be the way it was.
You think they'll put 40 on them? Possibly.
Say again?
You think they'll put 40 on them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think it's gonna be a high-scoring affair. If they're not careful, Seahawks can put up some points too if you again go in there and sleep on them. They're able to put up some points. Metcalf, I think, needs to turn into a bully this week. He's a big guy, big receiver. 240-pound wide receiver that runs 4.4s, 4.3s, and 4.4s in equipment. So, take the top off, run over a couple of DBs and be a bully this week. Don't worry about trying to get a call. Don't worry about, complaining that you're not getting a call because somebody's on you. They're going to maul you. So go ahead and just play hard and let the game take its course, Do what you're supposed to do.
What's next?
We got the Giants and the Vikings. The Vikings last week made a lot of believers out of some folks, and because the Colts have been playing everybody, surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, as they've also been building that culture as well. With Jeff Saturday, it seems like he's coming there. But they still, their biggest thing, they can't win that fourth quarter, being a young team. But the Vikings, that's the biggest comeback since Frank Reich.
I mean, at what point, just slow the game down, man. Just slow the game down. I mean, everybody's saying the same thing. Okay, when the guy comes and says, hey, we need 5 touchdowns to win. Okay, right. That's cool. Okay, so you give up 1. We're still good. 2, we're still good. What is it now? Just Saturday, this is the reason why people say having friends is a good thing. He got the job because his boy said, yo, you want to do this? And of course, you get to be an NFL head coach as opposed to an ESPN analyst. And then you're standing on the sidelines. You can't slow this freight train coming down, because it's one thing analyzing something on the back end or you're a player. When you're standing there, everybody's looking at you to pull the trigger to stop something. Just Saturday looked like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that commercial said, want to get away? He looked up the next morning and he became the laughing stock of everybody.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, when you blow leads like that, and it's not the first time that a coach has blown a lead like that this season. No. However, his has been magnified by lack of experience. Let's put it at that. Lack of experience. And to go straight into the league as a head coach from sitting behind a desk as an NFL analyst, sports analyst.
And people will remind you, you can set history and rewrite history on your own. I mean, we look at Andy Reid now as a offensive genius. He was the same way here in Philly, but man, there were times that people were ready to run him out of town with his clock management. Like,
Yeah.
yo, Andy, did you just lose your mind? Everybody in the stadium knows what's supposed to happen, and you're standing there and don't do it. So just Saturday, you know, ESPN will take you back. I see my man Herm Edwards back there. They'll take you
Yeah.
because you were not, you should have found a way. I ain't saying the game is over, but when we're up 33,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
and then you're gonna
like,
bench your boy Matt Ryan. Why you gonna bench him?
Right.
You need to send yourself to timeout.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were talking about how, like you said, history. Yeah, they made history in blowing that type lead, man. Like, it wasn't Matt's fault. It was not Matt's fault because, you know, he did his job. Now you hand the ball off, you let the clock run, you hike the ball with, you know, three or less seconds on the play clock and let it run down each time and milk it. Do enough. If you need to throw something, you throw some short and immediate to make sure you get the first down, and then you keep handing the ball off. You do what got you to that point where you were up 30 plus points.
Exactly.
You keep doing that.
Look what the Cowboys did at the end of the game. They throw a pass. I mean, just to watch that Trevor Lawrence fumble was just a textbook. He got twirled around and the ball popped out. And here's the Cowboys run, and then they throw it. Next thing you know, they go down and they got cowboyed.
You know what's crazy though? Matt Ryan is now known for being come back on in 2 history-making games.
But okay, so wait a second. The game of you against the Vikings is one thing. When you get humiliated in the Super Bowl,
oh gosh,
it's hard to look that one down. Everybody's seen it.
Yeah. He's his picture. If blowing the Super Bowl was a picture, it's Matt Ryan.
Yes.
You know, but I mean, everybody has that. Everybody has that. You know, and it's kind of like when you sit back and you think about certain things that go on in games and how crazy stuff is in games, you know, and play calling in games, because the quarterbacks don't call the plays. They call the plays that are called into them, and they audible to the plays that they're supposed to audible to off the plays that are called into them. So you have an OC that's sitting up in the booth, you have a head coach on the sideline, and they're in the speaker in the quarterback's ear for these plays that's supposed to be called. The defense can only do so much for you if you're making calls that's going to turn the ball over, or you're not taking care of the ball. Like the ball's on the ground squirming around, and then you're losing 15 yards on a play or 10 yards on a play because of a fumble, or just, you know, just getting bonehead penalties, you know, illegal procedures, holdings, things like that. Then 1st and 10 turns to 1st and 20. Nobody has a play for 1st and 20. Nobody draws a play for 1st and 20.
That's true. NFL Talks, Ox and Fox, Ken Ox and Don Dion Fox here with us. Ox, what's the next one?
We got the Bengals versus the Pats. Last week, are you kidding me? Just run the clock out.
Is that in the dictionary, is that the definition of doing too much? I mean, there's things that when you hear, like, there's a couple of things that happen and most of them are bad. That is like the epitome of bad.
Oh gosh.
I mean, and if it's anybody but Belichick, they're getting killed.
And it's not Belichick ball, because Belichick does not run that in practice. Belichick is by the book when it comes to discipline. Up until that game, I've always said that, like, and I'm not a New England Patriots fan. I really don't. But I always used to say he has the most disciplined players that I've
Mhm.
ever seen. And you hear name here, name there, whatever the case is, but it was never a lot of flashy dudes. Not you had the problem children of the league that would go to New England
And
and
act right.
straighten right up. You know what I'm saying? But you like really, really a draw play that he picks up about what 12 yards, then he
Yeah,
laterals
yeah,
to a wide receiver that runs backwards another 10 yards and then says that he's throwing it back to his quarterback where nobody else is behind him and runs like a 5.240.
yeah,
What was he going to do with the ball? Dude, catch the ball, go down. Catch the
yeah.
ball, go down. Instead, you throw it backwards to a waiting DN that jumps up and catches the ball, gives a Derrick Henry stiff arm to the quarterback.
That was, you know what?
I mean, like the quarterback, he made a business decision.
He did.
He said, "I'm going to look like I'm trying to make this tackle," and it looked like he went from what 24 to like 74 in that brief second where he just and fell back with the one little stiff arm to the top of the helmet. And
Mhm.
and that DN is now going to the Pro Bowl over that play.
Yeah.
Okay. He's
And,
going to the Pro Bowl. He's going to the Pro Bowl over that play.
not only
Because,
did you take it
you
to the
know,
house, you stiff armed him at the end. So it was totally disrespectful. And
Mm.
and then and then the game's over.
Yeah.
It was, that's one of the plays that everybody stands up and says, "Did you see that?" And everybody's saying that's the craziest play ever. All right, Ken Oxen, now what's the next game, man?
Next game is the Lions and the Panthers. The Lions are believing. Mike
I'm on
King, they
that.
are.
I'm on that bandwagon. I'm on the bandwagon. They're
I
starting.
like I like I like I, I like their coaches, man. I like the coaches and the fire that they put under their players, man, and their players are buying in and the close ones, like you said earlier in the season, Ken, they found a way to hold on and fight back and get it to click a little bit better. Next year, if they keep the same hunger, I'm looking forward to seeing them uh turn it around
Yeah,
next year.
yeah, and they in the hunt this year.
What's
If they
the
can,
next one? Well, they in the hunt, but at the same time,
they not.
just to be yeah, and just to be like it's a whole lot of moving parts that goes into them being in the hunt. They have
Yeah.
to win out, other people have to lose, and when you have to depend on other people to do things for you, it's kind of tough. That's why I said I'm looking forward to seeing how they turn it around for next year. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to see if they can continue on to ride this into the beginning of next season,
Yeah, makes sense.
with the coaching staff that they have, with the guys that they have, and make sure everybody's healthy when they come in and hit the ground, both feet running full blast. And
So,
it's going to be fun to see that.
Mr. Fox, you say when you have to depend on other people to help you get in, that's not. But you can do like Mike Tyson and said he brought his own judges with him, the left and the right, and that way.
Well, you know what? Those are different type of judges. When you bring in the left and the right with you, when you in the NFL and you see some things that you saw this past week, and then you see some games that you saw, in anything could happen, man. Anything could happen.
And
The
anything
deflected
did happen
ball.
this last weekend.
I mean, it was. If you want to make a bloopers tape, you could get about 3 or 4 good ones from this past weekend, and
Yes,
then you could, and that same tape is going to be on NFL's greatest plays
exactly.
as
Because
well. So
the Trevor Lawrence one where he's running, that was a bonehead play to just get down.
Yeah,
exactly.
He did the helicopter, and he went one way, and the ball went the other way. All righty,
Exactly.
Ken Oxen. Now, what's the next game, man?
Falcons and the Ravens. NFC South is still up in the air, but I don't see the Falcons doing this. They still guys now trying to make teams. They're trying to make sure their seat is secure for next year.
For the next year, yeah.
So, and that's one thing we ain't talk about. You know, we have what a lot of these teams and a lot of people don't understand is these teams that are out of the playoffs since November. You know, now these owners, these GMs are saying, okay, who's gonna be here next year, and who do we have to replace? So, and that's the bigger part for a lot of these teams that's on the outside, the guys that's outside looking in, and the teams that's outside. The playoff hunt is now they're trying to play.
They're trying to. You're right there. They're playing for job security. You got teams playing. You got teams that have clinched playoffs, playing for playoffs, and then playing for job security. The job security are the ones that Ken was talking about. If you're not going to the playoffs, okay, I need to make sure I can play next year on this team. I need to make sure my paycheck keep coming. And we're not talking about some of the guys that have just been producing. It's about 5 or 6 guys on every team that's on a losing team that's, you know they're going to be back. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have some that are on the fence that were getting paid. And then you have the guys that are younger guys that are like, I'm still proving myself. So they're like, every shot they get, they're going out there and flying around and try to make something happen and prove that they're supposed to be there. And I said, man, I need to show them that I can help turn this team around. I need to show them that I can be here. And so you start thinking about that because everybody's shuffling decks right now.
So, Fox, would you say the lineman, one play, take it to the house, stiff arm the quarterback equals Pro Bowl?
I mean, that's a Pro Bowl play. And you think about it. You think they're gonna get rid of him now? No. You think anything in question? That was a big play at a big time to win a game. To win a game. That was a game-winning play.
That is true.
Interception, return for a touchdown.
That was
game-winning play.
Ken Oxendine, next game.
Washington at 49ers.
You know what? I'm telling you, Mr. Fox, I'm going with your old squad. I am. I'm feeling them.
I'm gonna go with the Commanders as well, man. I think that they got a bit of taste in their mouth after last week. To get that to happen to them at home on their home field, it's like I believe that Washington is one of those teams that it's a couple teams like this, but Washington is one of those teams that you don't have to worry about them getting home cooking because there's no such thing as home cooking. And for our listeners that are trying to figure out what home cooking is, where you get stuff that goes in your favor, okay, or even stuff that just is even kill. The end of the game that was so obvious, nothing was home cooking or even kill about any of that.
So what you're saying is they don't get no hometown love.
It's hard sometimes. I mean, you got your diehard fans that love you, but outside of that, it's disrespect. It's like you have to make sure that you put it down the entire time from the first tick until there's all zeros on that clock. Because if you put it in the hands of anybody else other than yourself, chances are, it's going to be a letdown. And you say let certain people do their jobs, okay? Let the players play, let the officials officiate, and let the coaches coach. So that's what we try to do, okay? And in every aspect of the game, I hate when I watch a football game, period. I don't care who's playing. I like to see good football. I like to see consistent officiating. I like to see good coaching. I like to see all of these things. And it turns into a breakdown of the sport on whatever level it is when one of those aspects starts to break down.
Hey, so Mr. Fox, you're a defensive guy. What kind of game do you like? A defensive game or an offensive game?
I like an explosive game. So I like to see explosiveness on both sides of the ball. So if there's a big play that happens, cool. I don't want to see 15 big plays in the same game because, there's no defense then. I don't want to see a game that turns out to be 49-56, Yeah, it's fun for people. It puts people in the seats and sell tickets because everybody want to see people scoring. So that's why a lot of rules have been changed.
Well, like they
I
said in
also don't want to
baseball, chicks
see,
dig the long ball.
hey, well, they do. I mean, everybody dig the long ball if you got a quarterback that can send it down the field, but just throwing it just to throw it, like I said, it's the difference between throwing the ball and passing it. Me, I throw the ball. You got some quarterbacks that know how to pass it. But,
Mm-hmm.
I like to see a hard fought game. I like to see it come down to the wire. And I like to see good plays at the end. I don't want to see controversy like I saw last week. I never like to
Yeah.
see that. If they drive down the field and they earn the right to get in there and they make a good play, cool. If the defender makes a good play, cool. But not like that, man. Not like that.
Mr. Fox, you seem like you're carrying a little bit of bitterness in with you. I'm not an expert.
I'm carrying bitterness in. It's not
It's
really
the holiday
bitterness.
season, man. You don't got to
It's
explain it to
disappointment.
me.
It's disappointment. It's disappointment in the fact of how you see them make a call about a guy tackling a quarterback, and they said he's landing on him too hard, okay, or a guy that is making a pass rush move, and we have to go back and see the replay 2 or 3 times before we see that the hand slipped up from the chest and went to the face or something like that. Okay, cool. I see you made that call. You right. That's the right call. And then you see somebody get mauled, on a pass play, and then there's no flag thrown. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It could have been me watching Philly play against any other team. And I see a wide receiver from Philly, I'm like, where's the call? Where's the call? It's just, and I'm a defensive guy. Good defense, I love. I don't like that type of defense. I understand you getting away with a little tug here, a little something there, but that, no, sir. He pickpocketed him. He took everything off of him. He took everything off of me. It was rough. It was just rough.
Ken Oxendine, explain to that man we're in the holiday season. You gotta let it go, man. That was last week.
Hey, look, man. Hey, look. I'm still in the holiday season. I'm still in the holiday spirit, but I don't like to see that. And then the referees,
the Grinch.
I understand they get a rough go sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I understand they get a rough go sometimes with certain things, but they deserve a rough go on that particular thing because it's not anything that's left to question. There's no question mark about what went on when you have every sports program that spoke on it.
Right, they lead with that one. It was, a mugging did happen. All right, Ken Oxendine, what's next?
We got the and on that one, I like the 49ers just because of their defense. The Eagles and the Cowboys are next, and no Jalen Hurts this week.
Who you going with, Mike? Mike, you kind of quiet, Mike.
Yeah. Who I'm going with.
I will say this. I will say this real quick. Remember, like week 2 or 3, we were talking, and then week like 6 or 7, we were talking again because at that time y'all were undefeated still, and you said, "Hey, man, in Philly we do it big." He said, "But there's one thing about our quarterback." He said, Hurts. They worries me because Hurts might get hurt, and sure enough, you talked it up.
Yeah. As my mother would say, God don't like ugly. All right. So this is what it is. So the quarterback the other night, what was his name? You said he was a load. When you look at him, he looked like he could take some hits.
Mm-hmm.
And when I remember looking at Michael Vick just ran and operated faster than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts looked the same size as Michael Vick, but he doesn't run at that lightning quick speed. Like, we didn't get the Atlanta Michael Vick. We got the Philly Michael Vick. Mm-hmm. It was different. Dude was hitting them, and he looking out the ear hole of the helmet. And every time he got hit, we felt the same way. Is this it?
Mm-hmm.
And Hurts to me is that same way. You run and you take those and you can flex and do all of that. But guys are they're going to come and get you. And you can look, is Kyler Murray gonna be the same with the knee blown out?
Mhm.
Yeah, you
That
start
was a
looking at.
non-contact injury with Kyler.
I know
That was a non-contact injury with Kyler.
the
He
field took him out,
did a juke in the middle of the field. Yeah, the field took him out.
so you kind of.
Another
I'm going
RG3
Philly.
injury,
I'm a homer. I'm not. You know what? Yeah, I'm going my team. Minshew, we're good. We can beat them with him.
It's a different game plan that's going on with that.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to be ready to get down and play because it's a division rivalry. Not only that, they salty about last week with that last second loss that they had in
Yeah,
overtime.
and the,
So they're
the
gonna
Penn
have something
State
to
Michael
prove, and
Parsons,
Dak gonna
he
get up and
chirping.
brush the and Dak gonna get up and brush off all the stuff where they threw him out the meme threw him out the glass plane window. So he getting up and brushing the shattered glass off of him, off of that meme that they made of him, which I thought was wrong because it didn't fall on Dak's shoulders. But they had Dak being thrown out the office,
Right.
onto the ground.
I am not saying I'm at Stephen A.
But
Smith
it's
level.
it's gonna be. Hey, look, man, I'm gonna tell you like this. It's gonna be a good game.
It
The
is.
quarterback has to manage the game. The quarterback has to manage the game.
There you
Are
go.
they playing in Dallas or are they playing in Philly?
They are in Dallas.
Your quarterback has to manage the game because you're going to Jerry World, so you know how that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might even have to watch the referees. Now I don't know. I ain't gonna say, but you know what? There might be some home cooking there.
Right.
All right, Ox, who
Hey,
you
man,
got?
anything's possible in Jerry World.
I'm with
You with who?
I'm with the Cowboys.
You with the Cowboys? Why you with the Cowboys?
They it's Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. It's in Dallas, and and the Cowboys still feel like they are they a stepchild. They still got a lot they got to prove. And it's not here. It's them getting to the playoffs and being able to solidify those parts. They know they can do the other parts, but and that's what the Eagles they made. Who would they go rest? Could they then they clinch some pieces, or they go rest some of their starters? And so, and the Cowboys, even though even though they clinch a playoff berth, they try not to be a wild card.
That is true.
And that's true. Ken, I'm sorry, Mike. And that's true too, Clint. They did clinch. Eagles did clinch, so they're probably gonna rest some people. Jalen's down. They're probably gonna play some of their starters a little bit, and pull them out, and get in some guys so that they can see who they may need to go to in the playoffs if need be. Who can step up to do certain things in those games if somebody goes down in those games as well, because this is that time of year, because we are week 16, week 17, week 16, week 17. So it is that time of year where Philly has nothing to prove. They only have one blemish on their record.
That is true.
And so they've clinched.
Ox,
They
we
won
got
the
next.
division, they clinched.
No, we got the Raiders at the Steelers. And both teams, and it's crazy, is Tomlin has that team playing. Now, is it a way outside shot they can get in? Yeah. But they could easily switch with a win. They could switch with Vegas and be in front of Vegas. And now the Jets and the Jaguars, if they lose out, it's especially with Franco going down, they could be playing in the spirit of him. So it's gonna be interesting how the Steelers
and they
play.
were supposed to celebrate him this weekend too, Ken.
That was a tough one.
Wow.
They were celebrating. They were celebrating him this weekend too, like because it's the 50th year,
Yeah.
of that play, and they were talking to him, and he was supposed to be at the game.
Yeah. So yeah.
All righty, I'm like in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, he has never been below 500. So you know what? He'll always have a winning season. He says they're going to get there, and I'm rolling with Mike Tomlin.
There it is.
Well, there's 17 games this year, so he could be above 500 this year. Because we
Well,
got a week 18, because this is week 16, and then we got 2 more weeks, 17 and 18. So they added an extra. They took away a preseason game and added a regular season game.
like you said,
Oh.
it's all about the money.
That's what it's about.
It's about the money. Ox, is that it?
No, we got 5 more games, 4 more games. We got
okay.
the Packers and the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
The Dolphins are
Yep.
running on. They're starting to click,
Yeah.
Dolphins.
And
the Packers got drama.
So yeah, that's easy. Even though you're playing in the warm weather, you know, I like the Dolphins. That's everything they bring to the table right now.
And even though the Packers did play well last week and they pulled out a win, you know, I'm going with the Dolphins.
There you
Just
go.
because they have a few more weapons on both sides of the ball. So
Yeah.
All right. This is
and
NFL Talks, Ox and Fox. Ox and Dion Fox here.
The next 2 games is those games we're talking about guys they trying to figure out where people fit, the Broncos and the Rams. So 2 struggling teams. I like the Rams in this game.
How does the wheels come off with the Rams? Is it just injury? Is it like Pat Riley said, the disease of me? A lot of great dynasties won 1 in a row. What is it?
I think
it's
Super Bowl, a heavy Super Bowl hangover, number 1. Number 2, coming in and not having the same hunger that you had the year before, because you realize everybody's gunning for you. You know, you were the world champs. Everybody's gunning for you, but you're not playing like everybody's gunning for you. So you go from, king of the hill to then you're at the bottom looking up. So it's a rough one for the Rams this year. Injuries didn't help the situation at all. I don't see Aaron Donald coming back next year because he wanted to retire this year.
Yeah.
They got some pieces that they need to put back. Odell Beckham was there last year for a little bit before he got hurt, and now they talking about him probably going somewhere else to do something somewhere else. It's a whole lot of, okay, who do we put in now? Who do we fill in now?
Yep.
It's rough for them, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and
Make you think.
But they're playing the Broncos, so they're playing the Broncos. Where they playing? Ken, they playing in Denver or they playing in LA?
In LA.
So even though LA is going through all these changes and they're playing in LA, I would have to still go with them just because they're at home this week. They were playing in Denver. I give Denver a little more of a chance to win, but I think Denver's woes are a little bit bigger than LA's. Denver's been going through growing pains the entire season, and it's not because of injuries off the bat. It's not because of all that stuff. It's just something not quite right. They need to put some more oils in the cog or something like that. I don't know. They need to figure out what it is. It's a jigsaw puzzle that they can't get the pieces to fit.
Yeah.
If they get the pieces to fit, they'll be all right. It's just all of the hype with Russell going there, all of the talk about him trying to bring the team together, and yeah, he's that guy that can do that. However, something didn't click, and I guess they have to go back to the drawing board with certain things that they did. And like you said, Ken, we need to figure out what guys need to stay and what guys may not need to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the coach going to stay?
He might be one of the guys that the front office is looking at. So that's a good question. How long has he been there? This is his second year, right?
No, this is his first year.
His first year.
First year.
They might give him some grace, it being his first year. I mean, it's very seldom you see a one and done.
Mm.
It's been done before now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
It's been
it's not done. It's not done very often. You usually give him 1 year's grace. But if he has a repeat, if he stays and he has a repeat next year, he's definitely going to be done. They
I
gonna get rid
think
of him.
I
They might
saw.
get rid of him mid-season.
I think I saw the thing that said the NFL, was it the NBA, was talking to teams about the money that they paying to fired coaches. They're telling them, so you're looking at, you made a commitment to this guy. I don't know whether it's 3 years or whatever. You gave him the money, and now 1 year into it, you're looking at. You think about what it took, how bad it had to get for them to fire Urban Meyer. This dude is a legend in college, but he was a train wreck as a pro. And then all of a sudden you're looking at, you know what, man, just take the money and go.
He was acting like a
yeah.
college kid, though, Mike. He was acting like a
Was.
college kid, man. You are a professional, and there's certain things that you just don't do and carry yourself as, and then you wondering why your team is acting a certain way or not performing, and then you're looking at the coach and the actions of the head coach,
Right. He,
the head guy in charge.
yeah,
You know,
because you
you're
look
not
at this
you
and saying he makes more. Deion Sanders goes to Colorado as an employee of the state of Colorado, and he
Mm.
made more than the governor. You could put a whole bunch of people together, and they don't make as much as Deion Sanders. So Urban Meyer thought he was still in Columbus.
and that's the thing. Like you being in college, you get away with a whole lot more. Not get away, but you have more leeway to do
Mm.
certain things. And then when you're winning, certain things are overlooked.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, it makes it. It's kind of like what is it? Spoonful of sugar help the medicine go down. You know, the spoonful of sugar is winning. You know, and when you're winning, the medicine that's going down with that winning is, oh well, okay, we'll take care of that because of that, but they're still winning games. That was not happening in Jacksonville.
So
Jacksonville
not,
wasn't winning games.
so
Look
not
at
only
that.
You
you
got a coach
acting
hanging
up,
out at
you're not
bars.
winning either.
This is,
Exactly.
the NFL, we talking about the CTE and taking care of the retired guys, all that stuff. 5 years. This came out the other day, Mike, December 18th, 2022. Over 5 years, the NFL has paid $800 million on fired coaches.
Yeah.
That's
But they
sickening.
won't. They won't pay benefits to injured players like they're supposed to. They take you through 30 damn assessments and then say, oh well, there's an irregularity. There's an irregularity. You know, there's a baseline. He was a little agitated. He was a little this. You know, so I don't know, man. It's business. We're in the wrong business as far as that goes. You know what? Let me go be an NFL head coach for a year, and then you can fire me.
Right.
And I'll take my couple million and go on back to the house. Okay. So, like I said, a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. But college coaches, there's not many college coaches, and we said this last week, there's not many college coaches that have done well in the NFL.
No.
No.
There's not many at all that have done well in the NFL, and especially as head coaches.
Yeah.
So, and Pete Carroll is the one exception.
Mm-hmm.
And it took him a couple go rounds.
He's gone to 2 Super Bowls. It took him a couple go rounds, but he's gone to 2 Super Bowls with Seattle and won one of them. Should have won the second one.
But that was a business decision. Now that's we had that conversation.
Yeah. Well,
it might have been a phone call.
Exactly, and it was a phone call that came down from the top. And we're gonna let Rush throw the ball.
There you go. Ken Oxen, now what's the next one you have?
We got the Bucks at the Cardinals. And rumor is
I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Yep, Bucks all day.
Bucks.
Yep. And then
the Bucks.
Monday night,
what?
Right? Gronk, Gronk said
rumor is that Gronk is what?
he bored.
May come back. He bored.
He gonna just show up on Sunday.
All right, it'll be interesting.
At this point, nothing. Hey, look, nothing surprises me with stuff that I've been seeing in sports in general this year. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Nothing surprises me at this point with how things are done and people showing up. So if Grunk shows up, more power to him. I hope he stays healthy and get your money, player. I want you to
Right.
get in there, get you a couple catches. If you go to the playoffs, get the playoff checks too. I'm not mad at you.
At all.
I mean, Marshawn did it. Did Marshawn do it year before last?
I
Remember
think,
Marshawn came back to the Seahawks
yeah.
and played running back for the playoffs?
Yeah, he did.
They
Mhm.
signed him.
He
Yeah,
did.
he signed. He came back. Came out of retirement. He came back for
Yeah.
the playoffs.
But he don't have time anymore because he's too busy having a fun time with the NFL Network doing all that fun stuff.
Hey
Right.
man, I'm telling you like this. I've never seen Marshawn. Marshawn has talked more in the last 2 years than he did the
Whole
first
career.
10 years of his career.
Right.
Over his whole career. He's doing more talking now.
You know what Daddy
He got
says? Man, get paid to
commercials,
talk now.
shows. Hey, I'm not mad at him.
At all.
Get paid to talk now.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, the one with the alligators, him talking to Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Ox, what's the next one?
Last game, Monday Night Football. You got the Chargers at the Colts. The Colts are believing as well. They've been playing great games, but the Chargers are trying to make the playoffs.
You said the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts. They've been putting heat on folks. They're not as if you look at their record,
Yeah.
what they've done. They're not rolling over, even though you have Jeff Saturday at that position. But you're losing. They're losing games because of decisions that he's making right now. But they're not. They're not.
Is it what he's making, or the whole coaching staff?
It's the whole coaching
Because you have to look like this. Like, is he calling the plays? Is he the play caller? I'm asking. Is he the play caller now? He's going to take all the heat.
I would assume
He's going to take all the heat.
Yeah.
Wait a second. When he came in, did he bring in a staff with him, or did they just fire the coach and then he got left with the old staff?
He had the staff. He had the staff. So
he kept the old staff, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Because that's why they were saying that they didn't have to follow the Rooney Rule, because it was in season and he was interim coach and some other mess. So
yeah, and they can't go and get staff from anywhere else at that point, because any staff that he was getting from anywhere else would have came from another team. You'd have to get somebody that was not coaching, period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you look at their scores over the one thing that they have been doing over this whole year is that they have not been getting blown out, with the exception of the comeback. I call that a blowout in Dallas. All the other games have been, with the exception of the Patriots, they've been like 6-point games. They just haven't.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I call it a blowout when Minnesota came back on them, though.
Yeah,
I call it okay, because you said Dallas.
Dallas.
So,
Dallas was.
Okay, so and then Minnesota, I'm going with, I'm not going with the Colts, just because of the late game decisions that are made in regards to game management.
Yeah,
game management game management is not the best, and that doesn't fall on the players at that point. It falls on the coaches sitting in the plays for the game. You have to manage the game, and you have to be a leader to manage the game and tell your guys what needs to be done. So, I'm not understanding, and I know you have faith in your guys that they can make plays and everything, but hey, it's certain things that you have to do and certain things that you don't do. You don't go into straight prevent defense for a whole quarter and a half, but at the same time, you still have to make certain plays and do the same thing that got you to that point. Do what got you to that point.
Yeah.
Do what got you to that point, and burn up clock. Stay in the huddle a little bit longer. You don't need to be at the line, no huddle. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be quick snapping and running to the. You don't need to do that. You know.
That's coaching 101. Because every fan was saying that right then. You wonder what the coach is doing. All right, Ken Oxen, now what you got?
That's it.
That's it. All right,
Exactly.
very quickly. This is NFL Talks, Ox and Fox. Very quickly, Ken, thoughts on Franco Harris?
You know, it's one of the greatest, players. Come out first round draft pick. Just immaculate reception, and just when you think about someone who is just stood for a lot of this, you never saw him in a bad light.
That is true.
And he always did it did it the right way, even in after his retirement, and as from everything that you've seen in the media, so it's one of those things, it's natural causes, 72 years old. So it's always sad to see when someone, a hero that you've looked at, and this that you've seen through images and tape and those parts, and you see, oh man, that was the dude that did it the right way.
There you go, De'Aaron Fox.
Great running back, great player on a great team. I grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I actually, very few people that know this, through high school, I was a running back. And one of the running backs that I liked to emulate was Franco Harris. He was one of my idols growing up when I was in high school. I was upset that I couldn't get 32 when I was in high school because that was the number I wanted. So then I deferred to 34, which was another one of my idols, and Earl Campbell was that guy.
Oh,
so yeah. So used to run over top of people, and so Franco, like Ken said, he was never in a bad light. He was always about the players. Good businessman. He will be missed in the football world. And, thoughts and prayers go out to his family, loved ones, and, may that great man, forever rest in peace.
Well said, gentlemen. This is NFL Talks, Ox and Fox. Very quickly, was that the most famous catch in NFL history? And if it wasn't Ken Oxenine, what was?
It was right there up there with, I think, one was when you think about that. And then the next one, I think, is the Giants, that catch with Eli Manning throwing in the helmet catch. I think that's one of the other ones. And then the San Francisco Joe Montana.
The catch?
Yeah.
The thing was, the catch wasn't all that. I mean, okay, exactly. The helmet was good. The helmet was good. Okay, De'Aaron Fox, was it the best ever?
I'm gonna say, yeah, it was the best ever because it went for a touchdown. The helmet catch was number 2. Joe Montana, the catch, I think that is so historic just because they won the game. With that catch, he found them open in the back of the end zone for the game winner. It wasn't the catch itself; it was just the fact that the pass was completed. So, and I'm not taking anything away from it, but we're talking about the type of catch it was, okay? Because let's move the helmet catch to number 3 because it didn't score a touchdown. It just kept a drive going that led to them winning the Super Bowl, But, yeah, I think that reception at the time, how it happened, the big boing, the way the ball bounced, was able to, catch it and advance it. And then, all the controversy that came with it. So it made it exciting. It's still exciting today. 50 years later, people still talking about that catch.
That is a catch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ox and Fox, NFL Talks on the mic with Mike. Gentlemen, we got to go. Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas.
We'll be back. It is a big weekend of football coming up. So you can hear us on ESPN Richmond 106.1. That's where you find the guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now, take care, guys.
Happy holidays.
Same to you guys.